If she refuses, they push.
They do this if she says no. Because here in Mauritania, beauty isn't thin, it's fat. And fat doesn't just mean curves, it means force feeding. For young girls, even under the age of 10. Throughout history, societies have defined beauty in extreme ways. Neck stretching in Southeast Asia, teeth blackening in Japan, and foot binding in China. For centuries, being full-figured was actually the global standard of beauty. But here, this ancient preference has evolved into something much darker. It's called leblouh, and it still happens today.
But the bowl is effectively bottomless. It will be refilled the moment it's empty.
In a country with little opportunity, marriage isn't about love, it's about survival.
22% of Mauritanian women were force-fed when they were young.
A fat daughter is a desirable daughter, and for many families, that means food on the table, a future, security. I came here to investigate a tradition labelled as abusive by Western media, but what I discovered was far more complex. A practice deeply woven into the fabric of Mauritanian society.
It's more attractive, the fat woman than the skinny one.
Where choice and coercion blur in ways outsiders rarely understand. Where poverty and marriage prospects are intertwined, what does choice really mean? When a girl grows up believing her only power is her body, what happens when that body becomes a burden she didn't choose?
So we're here in Kiffa, the second biggest city in Mauritania behind Nouakchott, and we're looking for a woman who has been through this process. Not sure if we will find one, but we'll see if anyone's willing and open to talk as well about it.
I'm with my local friend Boo, who you might remember from our intense journey across the Sahara Desert to see the blind village of Dalekoumbe. As finding someone who is willing to speak on camera in Mauritania is impossible, let alone women, and especially women who are tied to this practice.
Come, okay. Looks like we may have someone. Okay.
After exhausting nearly all the options in this city, Boo managed to find two local women who had their own store who could help us understand the force-feeding culture.
Shukran, auntie, shukran. Thank you.
Do you remember when their first memory was of being told that they needed to be bigger?
Since 9 years old until they get married.
Why?
Let's make her attractive and more beautiful and more acceptable also in the community.
Does she feel more beautiful that way, or is it something that she's told?
If the lady didn't force feed, no one wants her, no one. It's not attractive.
If they could tell the world something about their community that they wish that they knew, what would it be?
Now she advised the ladies, she don't want them to be fat anymore, like between fat and skinny. Just in that level. Yeah, healthy, that is her advice.
I'll show her a picture of someone beautiful for us. What do you think of this? No.
Show.
Yeah.
Not nice.
If you show me also, I can say it's not beautiful.
Yeah.
She said you are like better than the one in the picture, and you should gain like more weight to be more attractive.
Oh, I'm pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay, think we're good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not filming any of the women because it's not kind of accepted or okay to do that. I'm just kind of trying to be low key. And normally when I go somewhere these days, I stand out. But here, I kind of don't. And I've seen that all over Mauritania since we've been driving through the streets. The average is bigger for women.
In Mauritania, a West African country on the edge of the Sahara Desert, this cultural ideal dates back centuries to a time where food was scarce and being overweight symbolised prosperity and status. In many rural areas, families began force-feeding young girls from as early as 5 or 6 years old. Girls were made to consume massive amounts of milk, couscous, and fattening foods, sometimes up to 16,000 calories a day, all in the hopes of making them more desirable, for marriage. The tradition has persisted, especially in more rural or conservative parts of the country, though it's been condemned by health experts and Mauritanian activists alike. While urbanisation and social media have started to shift this beauty ideals in some areas, the pressure for women to conform to a certain body standard, whether in Mauritania or in Western countries, still looms large. The methods may look different, but the root issue is often the same: shaping women's bodies to meet the expectations of others.
We haven't seen it, although we have to, well, I really am interested in seeing it happen. I'm interested in seeing them force feeding, which is a weird thing. I never thought I'd say that. But to understand their culture better and to understand this practice, I feel like I have to see it. So we're going to go to a different city to find that, not here. So we have to kind of travel there now and see if we can see it actually happening.
Travelling in Mauritania means long drives in difficult conditions. While the distances between settlements are huge, constant police checkpoints, part of an anti-terrorism and safety effort, as well as undeveloped and sometimes non-existent roads, can mean that travelling a few hundred kilometres can take an entire day. It will be a 3-day journey to travel from the south to the north of the country in order to see this practice in action.
I found a room here.
Yay!
He said that he will clean it. Yeah. And then you will be able to go through it.
Perfect.
Mauritania is one of the least visited countries in the world, so a lack of tourism means a lack of accommodation options.
We're about 2 days away from the next town, but we found this place to stay. And we found it. And then we're going to stay here tonight. So it's kind of just been a drive till we get to a city or a village and pick a place to stay. And this is the second one. The first one was full.
Most small towns have a handful of rooms, and if they're taken, you sleep in the desert.
Come inside.
That lack of supply means modest rooms like this one can cost up to $50 a night.
So after speaking with those ladies today, I am just so much more intrigued to know more. I want to know why even more so. It's just such a wild concept that no matter where you are, there is some kind of beauty standard. And here it just so happens to be the opposite, basically, of where I'm from, which is just blowing my mind.
Today marks the first day of Ramadan, when Muslims, who make up almost 100% of people in Mauritania, don't eat or drink from sunrise to sunset.
Good? Oh, it's Ramadan!
I'm fasting today.
It feels strange to be filming leblouh, where girls are force-fed, while everyone around us isn't eating at all. These two very different ways of thinking about food and bodies are happening right next to each other in the same community.
A long trip. A bumpy one. I forgot about the bumps.
As non-Muslims, while we won't eat in front of locals, we aren't participating in Ramadan.
I'll show you. We got some supplies, some oranges and some bread.
We have been given information about a woman in Chinguetti, one of Mauritania's historical towns, who still practices and teaches leblouh in the community. To meet her, we drive north, which means more military checkpoints.
So Boo has stopped to get some more copies of our passports. We've gone through so many checkpoints. There's like 10 or so checkpoints every day or more.
A response to the persistent regional threats from extremist groups and smugglers that operate in the dangerous Sahel area.
We are going over the part now that has no roads. It is sand. We are basically dune bashing in the Mauritanian desert because there's no roads left from here. We had to, it's like a shortcut cut, so we didn't have to go the whole way around. You've been here before, right?
Me?
Yeah, you know where you're going?
3 times.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah. We just will go, I know the road by mountain and trees. Behind that mountain, we will go on the left.
Okay.
In order to make it to Chinguetti on time, we needed to cut across the desert rather than using the few usable roads.
Shay?
Yeah, sure.
You can have Shay in Ramadan?
No, me, he's not fasting. Me, I'm fasting.
Okay. Oredu, Shay, wahed min fadlik.
In the Sahara heat, regular stops to help the car cool down are needed. And as always in Mauritania, it's a chance to drink tea, lay down and talk, which gave me a great opportunity to get a male perspective on this unique part of Mauritanian culture.
We're in the Sahara.
Yeah, we are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so crazy. You can make tea in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, Yeah, we make tea everywhere.
I just know you have travelled and come back from your trip and just scrolled through your bank
At the exchange rates on transactions,
and been like, where did all my money go? You know what I mean? Like you come back and you see that there was extra international transaction fees, and then you just come back with way less money than you thought you would. And that's exactly why I started using Wise.
it's a travel card with no hidden international fees, over 40 currencies you can hold and spend. It uses the mid-market exchange rate, which is the one you usually see on Google, free ATM withdrawals from 3 million machines worldwide, and Aussies can save up to 85% when spending overseas compared to other major banks. Before we got here to Mauritania,
We spent the last 6 months traveling through Europe, and I transferred some euros into my Euro account in Wise, and I could just spend the euros wherever we went, whether that was Amsterdam or Germany, France, Belgium, or when I just came back from the UK, I bought my football tickets in Great British pounds. And I was doing all of that on Wise.
there's no surprises with Wise or sneaky hidden fees. You're able to see the mid-market rate before you convert your currency. Just off the top of my head, I've used Wise in Bali, Thailand, Japan, Paris, Albania, Romania, Slovakia, Uzbekistan, Egypt, and Morocco. But it works in over 160 different countries.
If you are a new customer to Wise, Wise is giving you either a fee-free transfer or a free card if you scan the QR code on the screen right now, or click the link in my description and get started with Wise for your next trip today. Thank you, Wise, for sponsoring this video. We've stopped here for a small little break from the drive. It got really crazy. There was so many bumps, but we're in the Sahara Desert now, so we're gonna have some tea here. We're making some tea. So women in Mauritania, I have seen as well just driving that a lot of them are bigger. As a man, that's what you prefer?
Yeah, without no doubt. Yeah,
Really?
it's more attractive for us, the fat woman, than the skinny one. It's more attractive and more beautiful.
Do you think that women should have a choice in how they look?
It's up to them, the woman who should choose what she likes. But in the reality, it can marry quicker if she's fat than if she's skinny.
And even though times have changed, they still have the feeling that bigger is more attractive.
It's still there, yeah.
Yeah.
Still there, and it will still also in the next 100 or 200 years.
Still go. If you had a daughter one day, inshallah, would
Yeah.
you want her to do it, or you would say no?
No, this is her choice, for example, for sure. She is the woman who goes to the gym. I don't think she's beautiful. I don't think.
Wow.
This is my own opinion and also my friend's opinion.
It seems that while the practice itself is becoming outdated, the pressure for women to be fatter still remains, due to the preferences of local men. A similar story to the one that unfolds all over the planet. You hear about this practice of force feeding and you're rightfully horrified. It's an extreme act to help women fit a standard society defines for them. But it's not just a Mauritania problem. Do you know how many comments I get about my body? Every day? 10, 20, sometimes more. All from strangers who think I'm too fat, who think my body is theirs to comment on, who think I don't deserve to be on camera unless I look how they want me to. I can't exercise as well as I used to because I broke my back, and walking hurts. Sitting down hurts. Just a friendly reminder that you never know what anyone else is going through, so to keep your opinions to yourself if they're not nice. That's just... So when I see these girls being told to change their bodies, I don't see something foreign. I see something familiar. In the West, we don't use force feeding. We use shame. We use comment sections. We use abuse when someone gains weight and applause when they lose it. We call it health and wellness. We call it self-improvement. But we all know what it really is. A system that teaches girls everywhere that their body is a problem to be fixed. That if they want love, respect, safety, they better fit the mold. So while leblouh may seem shocking, what shocks me more is how easy it is to relate.
Oh, they're so cute when they're tiny.
The further we drive into the desert, the further we go off the map and off the roads. Driving hours without seeing another human means that if something goes wrong, we'll be left in a dire situation. Something that Mauritanian residents need to confront every time they make a journey. Driving after dark in Mauritania is dangerous for a number of reasons. The first town we found luckily had a free room in its only hotel.
We just got here and we just arrived to this hotel, and the start of another big travel day tomorrow to talk to some more of these women and to hear more opinions about this fat, I hate saying that, about this kabir, which means big women in here in Mauritania. But yeah, rest first. Alright, it's time to go. Another day sitting in the car.
Our third day of travel requires us to cross about twice as much desert as we did the day before. However, we quickly ran into one of the biggest obstacles that Mauritania faces.
His car's broken or there's something wrong with it.
I will check with him what happened to that car, and we try to find another road.
Okay. The road is just completely taken up by sand, but this is crazy. This is the Sahara Desert. Look at this.
Desertification in Mauritania is one of the country's greatest challenges, a slow-moving crisis that's reshaping landscapes and displacing communities.
You can drive for hours and not see anything, not see any town or street or person.
Once home to grasslands and ancient settlements, much of Mauritania has gradually turned into desert due to a mix of climate change, reoccurring droughts, and human activity like overgrazing and deforestation. The 20th century saw waves of rural people migrating to cities after their land could no longer support crops or livestock. Today, places like Nouakchott are overwhelmed, and villages once surrounded by green are now buried in sand. But amidst this growing threat, there are efforts to push back, like Mauritania's role in the Great Green Wall, a massive reforestation project stretching across Africa's Sahel region. In the face of a shifting climate and an encroaching desert, the people of Mauritania continue to adapt, resist, and find ways to hold onto their land.
What happened? They were stuck?
The car, it was broken a little bit.
Ah.
I just gave them some advices.
And it worked?
And that's all.
Good, alright, alright.
And he's also not a very good driver, but anyway.
Out of nowhere, a little oasis has popped up in front of us, which gave us a chance to do Mauritania's favourite activity. Rest.
Arrive and rest.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
It's actually literally exhausting. I'm not driving, but like sitting in the car, we left at 8 a.m. this morning. It's like 2 p.m. now, non-stop. All day yesterday as well, literally all day. It's tiring, and I think I'm just starting to get into the groove of Mauritania where you just lay down. So much else to do except drive at this point. What now, boo?
Chingiti.
Just drive.
Just drive 85 kilometers from
Okay,
here.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and then you will go to the hotel and you stay. Finally, after all those days.
Let's go. Kabir. We're looking at where we've come from.
Oh, it was a very long itinerary.
Yeah.
We spent days.
Yeah.
And from Kifa, that's my map in my head.
Oh yeah, it was Google Maps.
Yeah. So I crossed the desert here to Boumdade, until Tijigja, and then Shingiti.
That's a cool map.
Yeah. Alright. Okay.
Okay.
See you soon.
See you soon. So we've just made it to Chinguetti, and Boo showed us where we've been so far, which is absolutely crazy. And tomorrow we have the lady that's going to tell me more about this practice here in Mauritania, which just blows my mind. But yeah, tonight is a rest. We do a lot of travel here in Mauritania, so trust me, I am loving when we get to our hotel every night and we can rest. Boo,
Yeah.
can you tell me about Chinguetti?
My hometown first. It's a city founded from the 11th century. We have the mosque with more than 700 years old, and we still pray in that mosque.
Chinguetti was once a crucial crossroads for trans-Saharan trade, where as many as 30,000 camel caravans would gather at once, carrying goods between North Africa and sub-Saharan regions. Its importance goes beyond just Mauritania though. Known as the 7th holiest city in Islam, it became the principal gathering place for pilgrims from all over the continent on their way to Mecca. Like much of the country though, it too is a victim of the desert, as its ancient streets are being reclaimed by the advancing Sahara.
Alright, so we're just going to Sabah an-noor.
Stepping out the car, it quickly became apparent that my camera might be a problem, with friendly locals saying hello, but then moving into cover once they saw I was filming.
Sabah an-noor.
The younger generation seemed not to mind. We were invited into the home of the local lady that teaches this practice.
So already we have really friendly kids. What a cool city. I like this one. Let's see if we can meet this lady. We're here.
Her daughter welcomed us with tea.
Shukran.
Some of the tools used for the practice were brought into the room, and soon we were introduced to the lady.
Me aina ana Australia.
She prepared a concoction of thickened raw camel milk, sugar, and water, of which a girl as young as this one would drink close to 8 litres per day.
8 liters of milk to be fed.
Not just limited to liquids, couscous, dates, and carb-heavy breads are used to help achieve a calorie count of 16,000.
It's a traditional meal here that they use it usually also to force the women. And as I told you before, the lady should drink at least 8 liters of milk per day to be fed. If the milk not available, she should eat whatever she found. And in the next day, she should do the same procedure again.
Just for how long?
Until she gets fat. When she's fat, that means she's attractive and she can marry quickly.
And at what age do the women normally get married?
That's the ladies get married until she found like a suitable man for her.
Okay.
Doesn't matter, but it should be at least after 15 years, when she has 15 years old.
Yeah, sure.
In Mauritania, the median age of marriage is just 16 years old for girls, despite the law setting the minimum age at 18. Over a third of girls marry before 16, with child marriage rates in rural areas like this one being even higher than the national average. This leads to girls beginning the leblouh practice at such a young age in order to prepare them for marriage.
So she herself was force-fed when she was younger. How did she feel about it?
When she was young, she decided not to to make this procedure, which is leblouh, but she decided not to do that. But after some years, she made this procedure again.
So she didn't want to and then decided that she did want to.
Yeah.
It was her choice.
Yeah, it was her choice.
To hear that this woman was against force feeding in her younger years and even resisted it herself, eventually had to resort to the practice in order to be seen as suitable for marriage, it's heartbreaking. I can see how this tradition is passed on as a means of survival, even if it is something I can't agree with.
A normal day for a girl who is force feeding, is there anything else that they have to do in their day, or is it just get as much food as possible?
In the past, she said the ladies didn't work hard. The man who works hard for the ladies. But we don't want our ladies to work hard.
Did she force feed her daughters?
She made leblouh to 2 ladies in her community. They didn't get fat, but they gained weight enough to become attractive in her opinion. And then she stopped.
Has any woman said no to being force-fed, and what happens to her if she refuses?
The lady showed us the practice they use if a girl refuses to eat.
If she refuses, she put those 2 sticks on her finger, and then they push.
Sticks in between the toe.
Yeah, and they call it zaya.
Zaya. So that's what happens if they don't.
Yeah, if they don't want.
Some of the older people, I think, support the force feeding, but what about the young girls? How do they feel about it? Do they want to do it, or do they not want to do it?
She said the ladies, they don't like it, but they forced them. Because the old women, they know that this is very good for their future, they forced them to be fat.
I'm curious to how I would be viewed in Mauritania. As a former fitness model, my body changed after breaking my back. So I showed some old photos to the ladies so that they could compare me now to me back then.
Now you argue.
Shukran. So in Australia, in where we're from, I'm not attractive. I'm very fat, which in our culture is not attractive. Does she find that strange?
Your size now is cool. She think it's not enough in that level, but it's cool, it's good.
What about this?
And of course, an opportunity to see the contrast between beauty standards in Mauritania and in the West.
Yeah, you need to gain weight.
She needs to gain weight.
Curious about her worldview as a woman that has faced so many challenges, I asked her what her advice to others would be.
Always be happy and work for yourself and don't trust anyone. Always work hard for yourself, nothing else.
Be here.
You see, it's easy to look at a tradition like leblouh and feel shocked. But the truth is, the pressure to change our bodies exists everywhere. We've just become so numb to it. By age 13 in America, 53% of girls say they are unhappy with their bodies. By age 17, this number will rise to 78%. Of 10-year-old girls, 81% report that they are afraid of being fat.
And so I wear black leggings because I feel they make me look small or skinny.
Girls as young as 5 years old are beginning to express concerns about diet and weight. And it's not just girls and women. In Australia, where I'm from, non-medical steroid use has nearly tripled since 2001. Shockingly, in a survey of 30,000 high school aged boys, 11% reported having used synthetic human growth hormones without a prescription, with the average 6-year-old boy believing he should already have a six-pack. We frame ourselves as a society that's obsessed with health and wellness. But what are we actually teaching people? That their body is their value? That if they want to be seen, they need to suffer first? Sound familiar?
If anyone has judgment on this culture and, you know, telling women what to look like or whatever, I think you should look at, like, your culture's also doing the same. Yeah, in the end, we're all pressured to look a certain way for someone else, so.
I felt I couldn't just view the practice, I needed to try it. And that meant drinking the concoction.
I did not expect that. That's like actually nice. It's like sweet.
While it was unexpectedly tasty, it was one sip. I can't imagine this being your reality for 8 litres every day, especially as a child.
I'm not sure I could drink 8 litres of it though. That's a lot.
That was good. Yeah. Yeah.
I came to Mauritania expecting to feel anger, sadness, maybe even outrage. But what I didn't expect was how much I would relate to the struggle of being accepted by someone else. The women here didn't see it as abuse. They saw it as care, as love, and as preparing their daughters for a world they live in, not the one I come from. Back home, we talk a lot about unrealistic beauty standards, but here, it's not about social media or fashion trends. It's about survival, about being seen as worthy in a place where worth is still measured in flesh. And maybe the real issue isn't leblouh. Maybe it's that all over the world for too many girls. Being seen as beautiful still feels like the only way to be valued. The truth is, I don't know. But I do know that every girl I met was trying her best to be enough for someone else, in a world that tells her she never will be unless she changes. And maybe that's not just a Mauritanian story. Maybe that's something a lot of us understand.